Happy Monday. We made it to another week, and it's time for another edition of 3 Point Stands presented by Mountain Dew. I am Meghan Triplett. That is John Roser, and we got a lot to recap you all up on. Let's first start with the NBA. Last night, they got a victory over against Los Angeles Lakers, so now the count is 2-1. Roser, last week you picked Miami. You got to see two strong performances by the Los Angeles Lakers. But then on Sunday night, Jimmy Butler, oh my goodness, he was phenomenal. He put the team on his back without Dragic and without Bam Adebayo. Are you changing your pick? You still think Miami can do it?
Without Adebayo and Dragic, no, I don't think they can do it. But that was a great win last night. Jimmy Butler was huge. The 40-point triple-double. He was massive last night. I don't know, and he played 45 of the 48 minutes too. I don't know if that's going to, because they're going to need more performances from him like that. And then Anthony Davis only scored 15 points and only took 9 shots, so that's a little odd too, especially how he had dominated in the first 2 games. No, I think Adebayo could be back for Game 4, right? They're expecting him.
Yes.
Expecting to be back. That will help Miami. I don't. But how healthy will he be? Is that shoulder still going to be a problem for him? No, I think without Dragic, I don't think Miami can win the series.
Oh, so you're changing your mind. I think I'm going to agree with you.
Yeah, because they don't have 2 of their 3 best players. Like, if the Grizzlies got in the playoffs and lost Jaren Jackson and Jonas Valanciunas, you wouldn't expect much from them at that point. You know, like you can't, like you lose. If Miami didn't have Adebayo and Dragic, they wouldn't have beaten Indiana in the first round if they didn't have those 2 guys. So like you lose 2 of your 3 best players, like it's going to really hurt.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get another game like that from Anthony Davis. I don't think we'll get another game like that from LeBron. Just from a matter of, the Lakers bench, they really led the way for Miami to kind of get back into this game. Can Jimmy Butler do it again? I'm not counting it out. I picked Miami to win 1 game. It'll be interesting to see how the Lakers come out there and respond, especially when this Game 4 comes up on Tuesday night. All right, let's now talk about the NFL. I know you don't want to talk about this because your team is a part of this, but however, let's talk about the NFC East and just how bad the NFC East is, especially now when you have the Philadelphia Eagles after beating your 49ers. They sit at the top of the East. The Cowboys with another soul-crushing loss to the Browns yesterday, and the NFC East is just so bad that the teams still have a chance.
Yeah, and the Cowboys almost gave up 50 points yesterday to the Browns. They gave up 49 points to the Browns. They're the first team to make Odell Beckham look good since he left New York. No, it's bad. And Washington, the football team, they are equally as horrible. Dwayne Haskins is not a starting quarterback in the NFL. I don't know how much more they need to see out of Dwayne Haskins, but I would say if Alex Smith should be. Giants, they're pathetic. And then even Philadelphia, like last night, like that 49ers Eagles game, like that was the 49ers just kicked themselves. I mean, they totally just shot themselves in the foot over and over and over again. Nick Mullins, that was more about the 49ers being they had a horrible game last night, more so than the Eagles actually going out and winning the game. No, that NFC East that's the worst division in pro football.
Yeah, I mean, for Carson Wentz, for walking off that field with victory, I know that was a big sigh of relief. The 49ers, y'all are dealing with a lot of injuries. So are the Eagles. We know the talk around Carson Wentz is, is he the starting quarterback that we all thought that he should be? He hasn't lived up to that performance. He threw an interception, but he got a big touchdown when it needed it against a guy who was just called up from the practice squad. And for the Cowboys Nation, like my heart breaks for them. And I'm not even a Cowboys fan because look at you lose to the Browns. The first time the Browns have beat the Cowboys since 1994. That is not a game you want to be a part of. You're on a different side of history, and you gave up so many yards, which also was an NFL franchise record when it comes to rushing. Not looking good, but the silver lining is that it's anyone's game at this point when you have so many teams not playing well. So we'll see how the NFC East plays out. On Saturday, we got to see a lot of college football action, and from all the teams where we are, Memphis, Tennessee, some big victories. Tennessee 2-0. You got Memphis didn't get the victory, but a team that hadn't played in 28 days, they had a really, really great comeback in that second half. They lost to SMU. Ole Miss first victory against Lane Kiffin. What's your take on just everything that happened, in the college football era, especially in our surrounding areas, and Mississippi State? Mississippi State.
Yeah, I know. The Memphis game, yeah, they definitely look, and you probably could have seen this coming if you saw any of the Arkansas State Coastal Carolina game. I don't know if you did. Arkansas State was 3.5-point favorites. They got beat by 29, and Arkansas State also is a team that hadn't played in like 3 weeks because they had the COVID issues, so a lot of guys were missing practice time, et cetera, and they looked really rusty and really flat. And so if you watch some of that, you probably could have seen this coming from Memphis, the slow start. They did look really rusty. The receiver for SMU, he looked like he hurt his knee pretty bad in that game. Honestly, that's when I felt like I was like, oh my God, Memphis may win this game because they could not stop that kid at all. I mean, he is an amazing player, and he didn't play in the game last year at the Liberty Bowl because he was injured too. But he was just single-handedly tearing Memphis apart. The receiver was Robertson, and when he went out, I was like, wow, they really might win this game. And I don't know what. There was a weird game because there was all that scoring in the first half, and then there were like 13 points combined in the second half. I mean, it was just like the scoring just dropped off. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin gets his first win. That was a great game. Kentucky, God, you feel for the kicker. Misses the extra point in overtime. So then Ole Miss, when they score their touchdown, they make the extra point, and that ended the game. Mississippi State, that Arkansas team plays tough. That's a different Arkansas team than what we've seen the last 2 or 3 years. The team that had lost 20 straight SEC games in the SEC. They look like a totally different team. Their attitude, everything like that. It looks like Sam Pittman is definitely changing the culture there in Fayetteville. And Tennessee looks great. Tennessee looks really good. I think Tennessee looks pretty good. Now we'll see this weekend. They got Georgia coming up this weekend. That's a different animal than Missouri and South Carolina. But I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you got to be happy with what you've seen.
Oh yeah, to say you're 2-0, I think you can't get too happy just yet, as you mentioned, for the weekend against a Georgia team. I think you'll see a lot. You can't put all the hypeness around Missouri and South Carolina. They're not the two best teams in the SEC. But to start out 2-0 for Balls Nation, like that's what they want to see, and that's what they need right now, especially for Tennessee in this division for the SEC. It's really, really hard in the conference. However, Mississippi State, I'm super happy for Arkansas fans because they haven't gotten to celebrate an SEC win in so long. It's been way too many games for them to get it. Super happy for them. I think walking away from it, I think it said more about LSU. Because now for LSU to have that Mississippi State loss, it makes it so much worse for them. Because Mississippi State, yeah, it was a huge, huge victory for them for LSU. Now it's like, man, how bad is LSU? Like, does LSU have more problems than what we really think they did? And Mississippi State, I mean, this was a game that you possibly kind of just you didn't give it your all. Like you kind of thought Arkansas was going to be a definite W, and as you see, Arkansas put up a great fight. And they got a big victory, over them. Memphis, I think for what they were able to do without playing in 28 days, I think that said a lot. Yet they said they had players who had to catch their breath. They had players who had to go to the locker room and get some ice packs. For what they were able to do for a comeback, I think you're still very, very impressed because they had to come through a lot and for all that rust and conditioning. They still look good and can't wait to see them continue to see how they produce and got there on the field.
Yeah, well, they've got a week off too. Memphis has another week off, and then you got UCF coming in. That's a different animal too.
Well, UCF just lost, but you're happy to see. Like, oh, thank goodness, UCF just lost, so it makes it a little better.
Explosiveness they have on offense.
Now, Rosa, are you going to put on a 49ers jersey or shirt today? Usually on Mondays during the NFL season, there's something 49ers on. And
we lost, so no.
Oh, okay.
No, not when we lose. Not when we lose.
All right, so we just got white tea, John Roser, for this edition of 3 Point Stance presented by Mountain Dew. Hopefully next Monday I'll see you in a 49ers gear. I know you'll be happier.